Let's go next to our caller from the 404 area code. Who's calling today from 404? 404, it seems like you may have us muted.
Hi, David.
Yes.
Yes. Yo, you can hear me?
I can. Who's this?
Oh, this is Connor. How are you, sir?
Connor, pleasure to hear from you.
Okay, ditto. So I wanted to ask David, I have a quick question, then I have an opinion I want to hear your thoughts on.
Okay.
The first quick question. I've seen you on a couple shows, say Jesse Lee Peterson's. Well, really, that's the only one, really. And I did watch a little bit of when you were on Joe Rogan. But I've heard you say that you're not a Democrat, and that you're. I know you're not a conservative, but I've heard you say you're not a Democrat. But I know you for the most part, you usually use the word progressive. What would you definitively state yourself as?
So, Connor, I want to make sure I'll answer, but you're not conflating political party and political ideology, right? Because when you say conservative or Democrat, Democrat is a political party, conservative is an ideology. So I want to make sure you're not confused about what you're asking.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Republican or Democrat. Conservative, I shouldn't have used conservative.
Okay. So here's the deal. I am not a Democrat because for me, the Democratic Party is another institution that I don't find it particularly useful to associate with in any formal way or to pledge any kind of loyalty or whatever. It's never been clear to me why I would register as a Democrat. In modern politics, my views of social democracy, which is how I identify, are more represented by candidates in the Democratic Party than candidates in the Republican Party, but that could change. And so the way I characterize my views is I am a progressive social democrat. In practice, I'm mostly voting for Democratic candidates, but I've never found any particular. In Massachusetts, I can still vote in whichever primary I want. I've never lost anything by not being a registered Democrat, and I just don't feel particularly drawn to be one.
Okay, amazing. I'm just curious because I've never heard you, at least from what I've seen from you, I've never heard you state definitively what you are. I would consider myself, I would say I'm more in the middle, probably. I try to be as open-minded as possible, listen to all sides and all spectrums. But anyways, my opinion I want to get to. So I am biracial. I'm also 19. So it's going to be the first year which I can vote. And I don't know how much you talk about on your show. I don't know how much you talk about race relations, but being biracial, I am black and white. Growing up in the South, I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I went to predominantly black schools for the most part. I went to a predominantly black middle school, predominantly black high school, and I'm taking college courses online. So it's not really, I don't really go anywhere and see people, but I wanted to ask, I just want your opinion on it because growing up in these areas that are predominantly black, I've been treated certain ways, and a lot of people call it colorism. I've been treated certain ways because I am lighter skinned. Some people look at me, they're like, oh, you're black, or oh, you're white, or oh, you're Hispanic. And it never offends me. I just, I'm a little ambiguous looking. But it's, I've noticed that I've been treated a certain way by a lot of African Americans in the area I live in. I've been called white boy, which isn't really a derogatory term, but I've been called white boy. I've been called cracker. I've been assumed because I don't align myself with a lot of political parties. I've been assumed to be a Nazi or a white supremacist, things like that. And it's so silly. And I don't really call it ignorance. And the reason why I don't call it ignorance, and this is one thing I actually kind of agree with Jesse Lee Peterson on, because he said it's not really ignorance. It's more so that's how they're being brought up. And that's what they're being taught to believe,
right?
Is by their parents or whoever, whatever talking head, that might spew the type of things that they believe in. But I've just noticed that it's very common, you know, and it's proof that it didn't only have anything to do with just me going to school, because I've experienced it at work. I've experienced it outside of work, like you know, in social settings and things like that. And I've had people countless times try to diminish my experience, say, oh, well, you wouldn't understand what it's like being black, or you wouldn't, like, all that other nonsense. And I feel like it's kind of ridiculous, because I don't really think that the reason why there are black people who treat me like that, I don't think it has anything to do with, say, systemic racism, or because we're holding them down. I just think it has to do with the immorality, or the lack of respect for other people. So I kind of want your take on that.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. Now, my experience with this obviously is not personal. It's more academic and through talking to others, but colorism is prevalent all over the world in different ways in different places. I would defer to you. If you're telling me that you don't identify that that's happening because of reasons A and B, and it's happening because of reasons C and D, I think your experience in that is important. And it certainly passes the sniff test for me. It sounds plausible that the reason you are called what you're called because you don't look as black as some of the people around you, I don't think that that is directly because of systemic racism. And I think your assessment on it is way better than any I could give.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that, David.
All right. I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Great to hear from you. Glad we were able to take a few phone calls. We turned a bad situation, a guest canceling last minute, into a good situation because I was able to hear from a few of you. We will go to a break and have much more right after this.